This call is being recorded on Thursday, April 23rd, 2020. I would now like to turn the conference over to Gerald Annett, Vice President, Strategy and Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our first ever Verify 3D presentation conference call. It is a perfect time to showcase our crown jewel asset, Cozamin Mine, given what I believe are game-changing drill results we have released in January and again this morning.
Now, to orient you on the 3D views and the long sections, we're going to start off looking north, so that's up the page here. So every time you're looking at a slide coming in going forward here, you're going to start off looking north or northeast. So as we look at the footwall zone, you're going to be looking from in this direction across like that, so you can stay oriented. So basically, you can see all the black stopes here up on the main vein. That deposit is pretty much mined out, and now we're going to move forward and start looking at what the future of Cozamin is. So we're tilting down. Now you can see underneath the topography, there's up in the upper part, all the black stopes. That's mined out a Malinoche vein. If you look down at the footwall zone, you can see very little of it has been mined. A little bit here, and through here and here. And the blue here is inferred resource. The green is measured and indicated. Actually, it's all indicated. There is no measured in the footwall zone. So the green, the reserves are a subset of the dark green. And then what we're principally attacking, or what we started out to principally attack, was the blue stuff. They infill that into measured and indicated, so we can make that available for conversion to reserves as Tucker and his team do the mine planning. I'll draw your attention to a hole in the section right here. This represents the Portree claim. It's a claim that was internal to our holdings. It took us 14 years, believe it or not, to successfully negotiate the purchase of that claim. We bought it outright. There's no NSR on it. We own it, so now it's no longer a gap in our land holdings. And if you can see over the previous years, the development levels here, we were developing towards it on both sides, but we couldn't cross it because we didn't own it. That complication is now gone. So that gives us some more efficiency on the mining, number one, and number two, well, actually I should say number one, it gives us a much bigger target for our exploration, but it also gives us efficiency on mining. Now, what you're looking at today is a 3D view of the results, the news release we released this morning, and I think this picture is in the news release. The headline hole is this one right here, and you can see a lot of these holes, as Gerald said, they're step out, so they're outside of the color. So remember, the green and the blue is in the existing resource that's in the last technical report. When we fast forward into the last quarter of the year, we will be releasing a new technical report that will have infilled most of this area up in here and basically extended into new areas into here. So above and beyond the current published resource. So there's two prongs here. Infill the high-grade inferred resource, up dip from the current workings, and then step out into that hole. And we'll talk about future targets later on. There are other areas where it's open. But I want to draw your attention to the very high-grade results that we're getting outside of any resource we published in the past. So up in here we have 2.7 meters 3.6 meters of 2.7, 12 meters of 2.3, 5 meters of 5%, and there's a common theme here actually. There in this area, there's a lot of intercepts that are 5 meters or better, a very high grade. The headline hole, as I said, was 7.5% copper over 5 meters here. So that's a really zinger hole. We'll try to simplify this diagram a little bit into a long section, and you can see now the bidirectional traffic, which will essentially become one-directional traffic for most of it when it's done. But what I want to point out is the red box. The red box is basically the perimeter of the current reserve. So anything that we put into reserves outside of that box is new. And what we need to put into perspective here is this area here. Oops, I need to change pen color. You can't see white on white, I assume. Let's try this. This area in here is what we're aiming at. So this would be infilling the inferred. This would be more stepping out over here. But what you don't see on this section is that upper area is about 2 times thicker than the current reserve, which is down in here. So this is where we were at June 2016, and you can see, we thought, well, starting off in 2010, 2011, we had a 2.7-year mine life, I believe, and we discovered the footwall zone, and we started drilling it. So it added a few more years, and we were wondering, well, how far can we go on this? Because it looked like it was about to peter out over here. We continued to drill, and then by the end of 2018, you can see we've now drilled a long strike here over to about here somewhere, so across there, and then on top of that, we had some inkling that this thing was going to open up dip. And I'll show you a little bit. Later on why we had paused for a while and then realized it was still open. So, moving on to essentially the current situation, April 2020. You can see now that we've progressed from over time. We've progressed from drilling out to this way, up, and now we're drilling back in this direction here, and still open in the white spot that you can see there. Again, I want to point out it's about 2 times thicker than the average reserve area. So tonnage, is building up quickly in this upper area. And this is a grade. This is copper times thickness, so it's essentially a heat map, and you can see. It's warmer outside of the current reserve, or hotter, I guess, outside the current reserve, and still open in the area where it says Portree claim. So that's why we're really excited. It's higher grade, it's thicker, and it's still open. Other targets regionally, we own a huge land package in here, and we've taken out over the last few years the only internal blocks that were kind of stopping us from further exploring it. So we own what we need to own in here for regional exploration. I'm going to turn it over to Gerald to sum up, and then I'll switch back a slide or two and take questions, and I can draw on the slide, hopefully, to answer your questions. Gerald.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. That's really, really exciting stuff. And kudos to you and your exploration team for finding high-grade, thicker ore body. It's going to serve us really well here. And further to that, these challenging copper price times, it's really great to have a mine like Cozamin that can deliver free cash flow no matter where you are in the cycle. And we've had this mine, Darren Pilot, founder of Capstone, CEO, had this mine in 2006, so we've had it for 14 to 15 years. It's generated $450 million of free cash flow since we've bought it, and it would have been $600 million had there not been a silver stream on it from 2007 to 2017. In 2017, that stream ended, so now we get the full exposure of silver, and that's certainly great given that it looks like from these latest drill results, silver grades are going up along with copper.
As you go off to the right on the diagram you see now, We did tie up a big piece of ground with a deal I'm very proud of with Endeavour Silver. They're looking at mining gold-silver veins at close to surface and not at the base metal potential down below. So we struck a deal whereby we get to explore and mine on their side of the property for an NSR, and we're actually across the boundary. I'll attempt to show you where the boundary is here reasonably so. It's kind of like that.